Welcome to Never Rewrite. I'm Jeffrey Sherman,
And I'm Dustin Rea.
and today we're going to discuss how to think about your career to answer questions about what you should do about your career. It's almost New Year's as we record this. It's a great time for reflection. It's a great time for people to make resolutions and do things. And over the years, I've mentored a lot of people and with their careers. And this isn't, we're not going to give you advice because we don't know you and we can't tell you what to do, but we can give you questions to help you think about what you're doing. And hopefully that will help you answer what you should do next. So I wanted to begin with the first question that you should ask yourself when considering your career is, what stage of my career am I in? Right? If you're almost retired, probably not a good time to consider career development. And if you're just starting out, it is a good time to always consider career development. And then sort of as you get along in your career, you get closer. And so I think the first question to ask yourself is, what stage of my career am I in? And the second question is, where do I want my career to go? And this is kind of an important thing. And I think I've gotten a lot of perspective over the last 5 years on this one, where I moved from a senior developer type position to a staff developer position, which is a newish title in the thing. But advice or discussion that I've been giving to developers about that is, hey, as a staff engineer, you are going to do less programming. You're going to do more talking. You're going to do more cat herding. And if you don't like that stuff, then you don't want this role. Traditional, right, you're a developer, and then the track bifurcates, and you either go, an extremely senior individual contributor, or you become a manager, kind of the two roles, or you're stuck down here. I think those are the three places. You get stuck as a individual contributor who turns out code, and some people love that. You become a manager, and some people like that, or you become a sort of a staff engineer, which, in the old days, that was the architect role. That was it's an ever-changing title because it doesn't fit well, and what people need from that role, what companies need from that role changes over time. But it's the technical individual contributor, but less programming role. And if you're a developer, you got to pick, you can invent a new one, I guess. And I'm always in favor of that. Invent your own path. But those are the three main paths. And so you have to figure out which one you want, because I can't tell you. Dustin, do you have more, can you think of more paths or?
Yeah, the only obvious one that sticks out to me that I see a lot of, especially the transition you're talking about, like when you're at that senior engineer transition point and you're looking at like which paths. I also see some engineers take their hand at entrepreneurship, whether that's to build a product or to do freelancing on the side or to start doing some customer research. I've also seen maybe you have been an engineer that's been dabbling in other skills. I think that's also something that's coming along a lot lately. What I've seen a lot is more people that were traditionally designers turned into engineers. But I think the reverse is true. I've taken time to take design courses throughout my career so that I could better understand the designers that I work with. And I think that's part of the career development as well. So just even identifying, even if, whichever path that you choose, why, what is it about that path that is attracting you? Is it the new experience? Like, I want to try something I've never tried before, like managing other people. And like, why do they say that's so different than being in IC? I think that's a really good path to take. As well as obviously as an entrepreneur, I definitely, respect the entrepreneurial path as well. And everyone taking a shot at, building something that they either wish to see in the world or something that they have passion for. So yeah, that's what I would add.
Yeah, you're totally right. I missed that one. To me, the key piece is all three of those paths, that the manager, entrepreneur, senior, they're all less development roles.
Right.
Senior engineer is the most important, most development role you're going to have. And any other role you go from there, if you're going to move up the career ladder, you're going to do less programming. And that's just how it is. I don't know of anyone who's going freelance and also still, you can get a staff job where you're not really freelance. You're just temporary worker or contractor. But
right. But I think what you're pointing out is like the energy distribution that you have, right? Is there's never, I've made this for people watching. I've made this transition as well from senior to staff and then entrepreneur. I've been engineering manager in the past and other roles. So I've kind of seen each path. Um, and yeah, it just, um, oh, I lost my train of thought.
You were saying how you've done this yourself. You've done them all. And
Oh, the
it's
less
less
programming,
programming.
right? The energy distribution, right? So the what I mean is like from a there's never been a more intense programming job that I've had than being a senior engineer or a tech lead in a tight team that's moving fast. Every other role is going to have some amount of mind share towards getting work or corralling stakeholders or any of these kind of other business tasks where you'll just naturally be out of the editor in order to do them.
Yeah. And so I think that's the first thing that I often tell people is you have to figure out, do you want that?
Right.
Because a lot of developers I know, they just want to code all day long. Like, that's what I want to do. And in that case, don't go up the ladder, because you will not enjoy it. And it's
Yeah.
hard to go back down. You'll need to get a new job to go back down. It's Peter principle, almost. The second thing I think, or as you look back on your careers, obviously there's important questions like, are you happy with what you're doing? Do you like the people? Do you like the company? Is your company stable? Those are all important. I guess, is your company stable is not a really career question. That's a survival question. I have someone who has quit jobs because I felt I was growing stale. And I say
Yeah.
that with plural. Like, I have left wonderful companies, wonderfully stable companies with wonderful people, where the work was fine, but I was growing stale. And I was like, well, if I stay, I'm going to get stale. And that's going to be, my career is going to stall. And so then you have this tough choice. You say, well, do I jump, and literally jump out of something safe and wonderful and great, but not growing? Do you go? And then again, as you get older, as you get further into your career, the value shifts. Early in your career, you should almost always jump if you're getting stale. As you get
Yeah.
later in your career, it's like, well, if you're 63 and you're planning to retire at 65 and you're getting stale, meh. If you're 22 and you're already getting, or if you're 24 and you feel like you're getting stale or you've stopped learning, that is a problem. So, a thing to ask yourself and to ponder, are you learning? And are you learning what you want to
Yeah.
learn?
Yeah, I think there's a reflection there for managers at the end of year too, for your star players, right? Everyone, whenever you have a star engineer on your team, you're always like, how do I keep this person interested in the work and keep them motivated? And I think that's a good time to reflect on that too. Is like, do we have interesting problems to solve? And if not, what are the interesting problems that we need to pick up as a team to keep our team, having this momentum? Because once you enter like a maintenance mode, that may start to feel like what you're getting to about feeling kind of stale. It's like I'm just maintaining this one piece of software. I know it like the back of my hand. There's nothing for me to like learn here from day to day. So I think both from the engineering side and the manager side is finding a way to come together and solve that problem for your key people. Definitely important.
Right, yes, because if you're a manager and you don't solve it for your key people, they will solve it. Well, even if you don't solve it for anyone, they
Right.
will eventually solve it themselves.
Right, by jumping, right? Like as you're referring to. Yeah, I completely understand.
Yeah, or they'll disengage and they'll stop being a good employee. Like, I've definitely been on that side where I'm like, oh my God, I cannot go into work today and deal with this system again.
Yeah.
What else can we tell people? Be intentional. Like, actually, I highly recommend thinking through this stuff. Write it down. Ask yourself these questions, right? What role do I want to, what path do I want to take, or what path do I think I want to take? What am I trying to learn? And then, how do I learn that? And maybe, right, because maybe you go take a class. Maybe you can only learn by doing. But you're probably not going to learn by random luck.
Right. So being intentional about what you want to get out of it, I think is one lesson there, right?
Mm-hmm. Right, and intentionality doesn't mean that you need a full plan, but you need to at least know what it is you want. Like, if you feel like you're getting stale, I've definitely had mentees with this problem of, oh, well, I'm getting stale. I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to learn?
Right.
I will help you make that happen. And they say, I don't know. And I say, okay, well,
Right.
think about that. And they come back, and then, like, I can't. Part of the way we're trying to structure this episode is, you don't want me telling you what I would do.
Right.
Because what I would do is definitely going to be an odd career choice for you.
Right.
And Dustin as well, right? Do you want
Yeah.
to go the entrepreneur route? Do you want to become a known expert in your field for something? You could.
Right.
They're great paths. I like it. I like being a known expert. Dustin likes being an entrepreneur. But unless that's exactly what you want, you don't want to take our.
Yeah.
You don't want me picking what you should do next.
Exactly. And I think one, the idea here is how do we make these types of decisions as we've
Mm-hmm.
progressed in our career? And one of the framings I continue to use over and over is, will I regret not trying this thing I'm thinking about?
Mm.
Whether that's been at all versions of my career is, if you've ever had that like nagging feeling of like, man, what if I would have done this, or what if I would have done that? I like to just get ahead of those, right? And just, well, let's just take that path, see what happens. And, then that tends to open up, doors or new opportunities that you weren't even aware of. And I think that idea of just not being afraid to just broaden your horizons through just trial and error. And again, like, will I always wonder what this would have been like to be a manager, or to do this, or to go down the staff path and work with, directors, or, what does that look like?
Right.
So that's the kind of framing I use.
Yeah, and one thing that, if this sounds scary, generally speaking, you've got a manager and your manager wants you to succeed, and your manager has no idea what that looks like for you. And if you
Right.
can tell them, then they can, instead of trying to, for them to try and figure it out or even push you in ways that are not helpful, they are almost always going to be very happy to know what you want, and then they will help you get it. And you'll find that as soon as you can say, this is what I want to try, what I want to do, doors will open,
Yeah.
because people want you to succeed, and they want you to try the thing you want to try. They're not trying to hold you back. They don't know what you want, and they've got 8 or 9 direct reports, or 4 or 5, whatever. They've got a bunch of direct
Hmm.
reports. They don't know what you want. They want
Yeah.
you to succeed, or they would like you to succeed. And if you can tell them or give them a hint, they will be happy to help push you in that direction.
Yeah. And I like the idea too of where you're going. And the same thing I think applies for like staff and principal engineers. Like if you're at the senior level right now and you're like, well, I don't know what it means. Like when you say it's a different job, like what does that mean? Like, well, get closer to some of the staff and principal engineers that you work with, and, ask them about their day. Like what kinds of
Mm-hmm.
projects are they working on? What kinds of things are they concerned with, versus looking at like the work that you're working on? You'll start to kind of see how your day differs. And I think, I mean, obviously we used to be in office or be a little, more in Slack and stuff. And you could, have lunch with somebody, or there'd be meetings. But anytime you get
Mm-hmm.
that chance to kind of brush shoulders and just casually talk about what they're working on, I think it helps to paint a picture of like, okay, I can imagine working on projects of that scale, or working across 3 different teams to come to this solution.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's, being able to kind of shadow almost what they're doing, whether that's in management, entrepreneurship, a principal, or a staff engineer. All of those people are going to be more than willing to have you shadow them and tell you about their day. And, it's stuff that we all love to talk about because it's what we do. So
Yes. Yeah. Nope. If anybody is trying to hide something from you, that's a really big red flag. Everyone should be super excited and super happy to talk to you and tell you everything,
yeah,
and hopefully let you try. And don't be afraid to try. And if it doesn't work out, don't be afraid to say that either. You can always say,
exactly.
look, that was not a good idea. Let's roll back.
Do you want to close out with maybe what were, the most, if you can only remember one thing for, planning your 2026 kind of career and your career pathing, what would it be from your lifetime or this call? Yeah, what's the one thing you would leave with viewers?
Think about what it is you want and where you want your career to go, because otherwise it won't go there.
Love that. Love that.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. I'm Jeffrey Sherman,
Dustin Rea.
and this is Never Rewrite.